Hey, we're at the Okefenokee Heritage Center once again, and as you know, if you've been following us, we bring you a video from time to time. And today you are very, very lucky because we're going to bring you a video with a fascinating photographer and also get to look at the work that he does. So on my left is a gentleman named Scott Beahan. Scott, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for all the display of your equipment here. And tell me the name of your studio.
Studio name is Shutterly Perfect Portraiture, and that's Shutterly, not Shutterfly, which I get confused with a lot, and a lot of people want to write that on their checks, but it's Shutterly. I had my name first, so this is my 31st year of being in photography, and so I chose that name 31 years ago before they ever existed. So, and the studio is in downtown Blackshear.
Downtown Blackshear, there you go. And a question that I'd like to ask you, how did you begin your interest in it? How did you move into photography as such?
So I went to a technical college for an associate degree in electronic technology. And as soon as I graduated from that school, one of the first things I bought myself was a 35 millimeter camera with a wide angle lens, a telephoto lens, a standard lens, and a flash. And I just started taking pictures of whatever I wanted to. And then I did a few backyard weddings. And
let me ask you a question. Did you go to workshops as you moved through this?
Not yet. Not until after I decided to go professional. And that was in 1992.
Okay, so you've been professional for a number of years then. And your photography is all sorts of things, venues, weddings, and you do indoor and you do outdoor as well.
Yes, primarily portraits, people, babies, weddings, those kind of things. And then when I moved here to Blackshear in 2015, I had some more free time on my hands when I just opened the studio, so I started exploring the fine art part of it.
There you go. If you don't mind, let us view some of your works, and if you will, just give us a little bit of perspective about it. I noticed this one is entirely of churches. What motivated you to put that in there?
So this section is churches. I like the historical. Most of my churches you're going to see are over 100 years old, so they have a lot of history to them, and a lot of these are from Maine, New England area.
Oh, really?
There's two local ones, the Old Ruskin Church and First Presbyterian Church of Blackshear. Those are both here in Waycross and in Blackshear, but the other ones are from Maine.
Okay, very good. All right, let's move to the other one. The other one is lighthouses. What motivated you to, in other words, to go from one subject to the other? Just variety?
Variety. I like architecture. Architectural photography is one of the things I like, and lighthouses provide that. People have a natural connection to lighthouses for some reason. They just generally like them, I guess, because they show the way. They guard and protect and help ships to find the way in the dark. So I think people navigate toward that.
One of the things that you're going to notice as we look at this, almost every photograph in here has some scriptural reference to it. And Scott brings his Christianity into his work very strongly, and I think that's a wonderful thing. So you're going to see that throughout. Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask, I noticed, and we'll come to them a little bit, how do you get that on the photograph? Is there a program, a software program?
It's through Photoshop.
Oh, okay.
Through Photoshop.
Okay.
You can do anything in Photoshop with any font. You can change it any way you want to.
So you have photograph is within the program, and then the scripture.
The editing.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now let's move to a section I really like, and that's birds. All right. All of these are obviously very outdoor. Now, did you use telephoto with all of these?
Yes. Yeah. You don't get to run right up to a bird with a close-up lens or anything like that. birds have different species of birds have different personalities. So some are more skittish, some are harder to photograph because you can't get near them. So sometimes you have to be in a blind. Sometimes you have to be just in in the right place, and sometimes they just totally ignore what you're doing and let you photograph.
You do your thing while they're there. I particularly like the kestrel because the kestrel is a local bird that's around here, and
Right.
you can see that one. You can see that probably readily in the rural areas. I may even see some of them in town, but I like that one.
Right.
And there's a lot of color in there too. This mallard shows up really well.
Yeah, that's been one of my favorite bird pictures.
Yeah, I like the position of the bird, the color of the bird, and the natural setting of everything. One of the things I like.
And that was at Grace Lake, out toward Odom.
I don't know where that's at, but anyway, yeah, okay, all right. And I heard you mention one time Harris Neck. All right, do you or have you gone up there very many times? Do some photography work?
Harris Neck, yes. Another favorite place of mine is the Alachua Trail,
Where's that
which
at?
is in it's down that way.
There you
Florida.
go. That's all right.
I had no idea you were going to be using my memory today. I'll
Well,
think of that.
For those who don't know, Harris Neck is a wildlife refuge that's just below Savannah, on just off I-95, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's easy access and good for us in this area. All right, let's look at the grist mills. Are all of these from the South or from New England, or where would all of these be?
Most of these are from the South. These are going to be South Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee and Missouri.
I didn't even know there was that many grist mills left.
I have currently over 40 grist mills I've photographed.
Really? Is that right?
They're one of our favorites, mine and my wife's favorite, because I like the scenery of them, and she likes running water, the sound of running water, and then she likes the history. So she'll go read all the signs and look at the history of the place, and I'll create the image.
Oh, the history would be something.
Yes.
I would venture that every one of them up here is probably well over 100 years old.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. That's outstanding. That's great. All right. What we got next here?
This starts landscapes.
Landscapes. Okay.
Which looks like my landscape.
Outstanding. That one looks like Rocky Mountains.
That is the Grand Tetons.
Yeah. Okay, that's outstanding.
Grand Canyon above it.
Yeah, we had an opportunity when we were traveling some to stay in Harriman State Park, which is on the west side of the Tetons. It's actually about 30 miles away, but on a clear day, in the evening, you could see the sun set on them. Man, that was pretty. Of course, I wasn't taking pictures then. I got the picture in my mind anyway. Now, how did you manage to get a lightning strike?
Well, there is a device that you can buy that when the lightning strikes, it detects it and it sets your camera off.
Oh.
But if you use a slow shutter speed, a lot of times when you see lightning, you'll notice it'll flash twice. So if you're quick enough and you're using a slower shutter speed, when you see it, you can push the button and it'll catch that second flash.
Okay.
So that's how I achieved that.
You have to pay attention too, don't you?
Yes.
All right, I like this scene too because it sure looks peaceful.
That is a road in Tennessee that my wife used to take to a camp when she went to summer camp. Took the children up to summer camp in Tennessee. So this is actually our image. This hangs in our living room.
Oh, really?
And this wood is out of a house here in Waycross, and it's over 100 years old.
That was another thing I wanted to ask you. Do you make your frames?
Yes, most of the frames in here I have made.
Okay, that includes these little ones over here as well.
Correct.
Yeah. I particularly like those little ones. All right. I'm trying to learn how to make frames. I've seemed to find out that I'm always about 1/8 of an inch off right there. But anyway, all right, excellent. Transportation.
Transportation, well, if you read my little sign right there, it says, rust is my favorite color. So an old rusty car has a special place in my heart.
And there are some around.
Yes, there are. There are some around.
In fact, I saw one actually, I saw it Sunday over in Millwood beside the road. It was an old Ford truck. Gosh, I can't remember the year, but it was about the year I was a teenager, and that was a long time ago. And I told my wife, I said, I wish I had my camera. I should have taken that picture, but I didn't at the time. And that's an old Chevrolet, I think.
Yeah, in the Impala.
Yeah. The bad thing about it is my dad had one of them. So you can guess how old that is.
Yeah.
Me as well. All right. Very good.
So this is one of my interesting photos to me. This is the Eads Bridge in St. Louis, Missouri. And it was built in 1904. And to prove that it was structurally sound, they did a parade with elephants over it to prove how sound it was.
Oh, it's a good one to look at architecturally.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the engineering that went into it to make it stable and strong. Very good. That's an old Pontiac, is it not?
That's a Buick.
Yeah, Buick, okay. All right. No telling how much that new thing weighed, but it was new.
Yeah.
All right, trains. I recognize that train right there. That's old 9 that sits out there in the yard.
Yep, that's old 9. We had a night shoot here, and they got a fog machine and put it underneath it to make the fog, the steam coming out. You turn the light on, and then we kind of light painted it. And light painting means you're taking a really long exposure, and you're with a flashlight or some other source of light, you're shining it on your subject to make it illuminate onto your image sensor. So this red you see here,
yeah,
that was done with a red laser pin from behind. As my camera was taking the image, I was back here shining my laser pin on that to let it catch that red. So it gives it a unique unique look.
Color. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And where is this one?
That is at Agarama, which is in Tifton, but they call it something different now. Is
it still a functioning machine?
Yes, you can ride that train on Saturdays.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool.
I bet it is. All right. And what we got here is still more
This is train graffiti. And my wife thought I was crazy there for a little while because as soon as I heard a train horn, I'd grab my camera and run out the front door and down to the corner, and I was taking boxcars as they go by. And I have an image that it's a 30 by 40 that has 135 boxcars on it that I created from that. And then I created these just from...
that's the graffiti on the sides of the car.
Correct.
Yeah. And some of them are very good.
Yeah.
Some of them are very poor. Yeah. All right. Man, how about that? That's great. That's great. Now, this is the same image that you changed.
It's a different image. It's actually a different image, but it's the same train.
Same train. Okay. It's a different image. All right. All right. Excellent. Man, this is wonderful. Oh, let's don't miss the little table here. What we got on the table?
These are various landscapes.
That looks very swampish.
That's swampish. Grand Canyon, the national parks in Utah.
Okay. And all of these little frames again you made.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I like that. I may have to have a carpenter lesson.
Oh, I'll be glad.
I particularly like this one. Can you identify this boy?
It's a butterfly.
I like it, man.
I don't know what kind of butterfly. It's a
Okay.
butterfly.
Okay. That's good. And was it taken in South Georgia? Do you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay, okay. I don't either. I don't either. I don't know butterflies. There's a lot of little things around South Georgia I should know, but I don't.
Some of these are, this is Arches National Park, and I believe it's in Utah.
Yeah.
We hit 4 or 5 national parks on that trip, and it just became a blur to me. Like, I'm not the historian, my wife is, so
Yeah.
that's another lighthouse in Maine.
I would suppose as a professional, you take just photographic trips. Your whole goal is to just take photos?
Somewhat. My wife is the one that can get us to go somewhere on a dime.
Yeah.
We have a credit card that we charge everything to, and then we get flight miles. So usually when we go somewhere, we get to fly for free.
Okay.
So that's a big chunk of it. So she has garnered several trips for us, but it's not just photography, but it's time being with her too. So
yeah.
When we got married, I told her we went on our honeymoon without the kids because we have 4 kids at home, and I told her we need to do this at least once a year, just get off by ourselves. So that's what
That's an excellent
we try
idea.
to do that.
It is an excellent idea. All right, let's move over here to this wall. Rick, follow along with us, and we'll move over here. One other question I would like to ask you as well is, did you make all the crosses, or is this a collection of crosses?
Both. I've made them all, and it's quite a collection.
Yeah.
These are some of. So I started making my own frames, and I had leftover pieces of wood from that. So instead of throwing them away, I started thinking, what can I do with this? And a friend of mine had shown me a decoration he made. So I love the cross. So I said, well, I can make a cross. So I started making crosses, and people started buying them.
Yeah.
So so now that's kind of my hobby now.
They're good. There's good purpose too. All right, this is macro. Macro, I got that one figured, getting up close to it.
This is macro. This is one of my favorite macro images. This is a red-footed wasp killer. And if you see, he's in the process of pulling this wasp apart.
Yeah.
And I was out in the backyard, and that thing came flying by me, and I said, whoa, what was that? And I followed it and found him.
Really?
And I was able to get that picture.
All right, that's good. Man, that's tied on a grasshopper too.
Yes.
Okay, this is abstract.
Abstract?
Are you going to bring any of that in tonight? I forgot what your topic is tonight.
We're talking about abstract photography.
Okay.
Basically. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that.
All right.
So these are cool to me. These are one of my favorite things. These are soap bubbles. So
Really?
that soap bubble is actually about 2 inches across, 2 to 3 inches across, and through macro, you can get images that look like other worlds.
Yeah.
So
I
depending
actually
on what's
thought that
in
was
the
some kind of planet.
yeah, depending on what's in the soap.
It's just a soap bubble.
Exactly. Soap bubble.
Oh, really? Really? That's amazing.
So that's the cool thing about abstract. You know, you can. It makes you question, and it makes you look deeper into the image to say, what is that really? You know.
Okay. All right.
Now, can you guess what these are? Can you guess what this is?
Lord, no.
So the laser pen I talked about earlier, it's just like one you would play with your cat.
Yeah.
So if you take a green, a blue, a purple, and a red, and you tape them together and you hang them from the ceiling on a string, and then you put your camera on the floor, aim it up, and you take that and swing it, whatever pattern it makes is what registers on your camera, and so you come up with different patterns.
Yeah, think about that just a little while, didn't you? Huh? Yeah, you had to think about that just a little while. Yeah. All right. Scott, this has been wonderful. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope all of you who are viewing it are enjoying it as well. And there's another thing about Scott that he doesn't mention very much. He is a giver. He is a giver. I think his dedication to the church brings that out. And not only that, he has a class that you can attend every second Tuesday at his studio at 6 o'clock. And again, he's a giver because it's free, and the only expense you got is the energy it takes to get there. So he would look forward to seeing you, and we look forward for you to be out here and taking advantage of all the talent that he has. And again, if you're interested, you can come to the Photography Guild at the Okefenokee Heritage Center every third. Third. I get my Tuesdays mixed up at 6 o'clock. And we have folks like Scott who come in and lecture to us, and we're very appreciative. Scott, again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your talent with us, and just thank you for giving to us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Don.